I just wanted to go over the vest submission here and show you a few techniques to help you work on a revision. I noticed that you have a UVW map applied. The assignment, while it looks that it has good placement so far, the assignment does require to have UV template coordinates. So UV template created, which you cannot create with this one, okay? So you will have to use, let's turn that off, select editable polygon, and you will need to use the UV coordinate modifier of the unwrap UVW, okay? That's the one that's going to allow you to do the template, and it's right here under Open UV Editor. And let me show you really quick a few things that you will need to work on. When you first apply it, it will look like this. You know, it's very basic. It's not efficient because there's a lot of overlapping, so it's kind of pretty much the front view, you know, just no UVs layout. So what I would suggest to do is on the Unwrap UV modifier, go to Polygon Mode, and make a selection on the UV editor to select all the UVs, okay, to all the polygons of that UV template. Then on the options for the unwrap, go and make maybe a cylindrical projection, okay, and if you notice, it kind of, you know, puts it back and front for you, which makes it a little bit easier to work with, but we still have to work a few things because if you notice, it's not showing correctly. Let's fix that by going to the material editor, press M, and I'm just, since something happened here, let's just create a new material. So drag it there, apply the checker material, and let's tile it at least 30 times. And you might say that's a lot, but we want those squares to be small enough so that we can see how they distribute on the surface on the viewport. I'm going to activate the viewport view over here and close that window so that we can see what's happening. You know, as you zoom in, let me move this over here. You start seeing some areas that are working well, you know, fairly well, I would say. Like this over here are okay, but then we start seeing some stretching here in the middle, and some stretching here, you know, with rectangles instead of squares, which will mean that you will have stretching there. And also here on the top part, there's a lot of distortion happening that is very visible. So one thing you can do is go back on the UV editor window, and maybe with this scale tool, you could scale it, you know, to the sides to get a little bit better distribution here in the chest area, and see how everything else, you know, starts kind of looking a little bit more lined up, you know, with squares rather than rectangles. Like this part here is already making good progress. So you can always see what happens when you stretch it up, but you know that's not working. So just stretch it a little bit towards, you know, higher, you know, squeezing it from the top so that it's a little bit shorter, and there's more distribution of squares instead of rectangles, okay? So that looks much better, but then we have some distortion happening here. And over here in this area, you know, there's some things that are happening there that we need to look at. Let me turn this off so that you can see better the screen, okay? I'm going to minimize here. Let's go to Vertex Mode, and the beauty of this is that I can always select the vertices on the viewport, and then they get selected on the UV editor, so that way you can see which textures, which checkers areas you're looking at, which texture areas, I'm sorry, you're looking at. Then from there, there's a tool here that you might want to check. Is Reshape Elements, Relax onto Flat. And with those selected, let's see what happens on the UV editor with those selected. Let's see what's, might take a little bit, okay. See, compare this area with this left area. You see how much better placement you're starting to get. That is the ultimate goal, to keep relaxing